It's made of like a really strong plastic and it doesn't move. And the reason is it's a ski boot. Now, what's unusual about a ski boot is that it fixes onto the skis, and that's why it has to be like this, so that the leg, the boot and the ski, they all move together. Now, if any of you have done any skiing, the two really important things you need to know are how to turn and how to stop. If you can just master those two things, then you've got it. But skiing is all about control. Now, if you've ever done any skiing and the first time you've stood on top of one of those big hills and you've got these two strange pieces of wood strapped to your feet, it can be unnerving because skis can pick up speed, and especially if you're big and heavy like me, momentum happens very fast and you can be flying down that hill. You need to know what you're doing. And so the tendency, I think, for all of us when we stand in our ski boot is to do this. We like to lean back. Leaning back feels safe because then that way, if something happens, we're not too far from the ground. That's what we think anyway, because that way we think to ourselves, we still have some control in this situation. Unfortunately, if we do lean back, this kind of thing tends to happen, and invariably it ends up like that. Look at this boot again. Now, when that's done up, if there's something you notice about it, it's designed to lean forward. Now, that seems absolutely crazy. You're standing at the top of the hill, you're nervous anyway, and the boot is now making you lean as far forward as you can. It's the last thing you want to be doing because you feel completely out of control. But when you do lean forward, something amazing starts to happen. Because when you lean forward and your shins are touching the front of the boot, you have the control to be able to go where you want. And through leaning forward, you can successfully make all those turns and get down to the bottom of the hill. If at the end of a day skiing, your shins hurt, then you've done a good job. If your calves are hurting, then you've probably spent most of the day on your backside. Why am I telling you this? Because life at the moment can seem like we're standing at the top of a hill looking down with strange things strapped to our feet, and we feel out of control. And the tendency for all of us is to say to ourselves, I want to somehow control this. And the way I can control it is by leaning back. And that way I feel that I know what's going on. You know, there's a lot of kids who don't know what this school year is going to look like. There's a lot of people maybe who've lost their jobs or who are getting into new jobs, and the future can look really scary. And what we sometimes fall back into doing is thinking, how can I control this myself? And God says this, don't control it yourself. Think about the ski boot. All the time we're leaning back, it's going wrong. When we put our trust in God and lean forward and do the thing that seems the most unlikely thing we want to do, the Bible says things start going better for us. There's a wonderful verse in Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. It's my favorite verse in the whole Bible. It says this, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Try and remember this picture. You know, when you're standing like this, leaning back, things probably won't go well. But when you're leaning forward and trusting totally in the boot and trusting totally in what God can do for you, you might be surprised by what He's able to do.